Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are opening up a topic that I think is going to hit home for, well, probably most of the people listening right now.
Oh, absolutely. This is such a universal frustration in language learning. I was looking into it earlier and I just kept nodding my head. It felt like I was reading my own diary.
Let's set the scene for everyone. You're listening to a podcast, maybe even this one, and you understand almost everything. You're watching a movie, reading an article. You feel pretty good.
You feel fluent almost.
Yes. And then you walk into a real situation, a work meeting, or you just try to order a coffee and
And the wall just comes down, silence.
exactly. Your
Yeah.
mouth just doesn't work. You have the perfect idea in your head. You know the words, but you can't get them out fast enough.
I have been there so many times. You're in that meeting, someone asks for an opinion, and you have this great complex thought. But by the time you translate it, you check the grammar in your head and then build up the courage to speak.
The moment's gone. The conversation has moved on.
And you just end up nodding and smiling.
The classic smile and nod. It's like a defense mechanism.
It is, but it leaves you feeling awful afterwards.
Well, the mission of today's deep dive is to, you know, finally retire that smile and nod. We're going to explain why this happens.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, it is not because you aren't smart.
Right. And it's not because you don't actually know the words. That's the key thing. It feels like a knowledge problem, but it's really an access problem.
Precisely. We're going to look at the science behind that access problem and then give you a very specific, maybe slightly unusual method to break the silence, a low stakes method.
I'm really glad we're getting to the solution because honestly, when this happens, it's easy to start worrying. You think people see you as shy, or worse, that they think you're not that intelligent because you're so quiet.
It feels like a personality flaw.
It does. So
Yeah.
how common is this, really?
It's definitely not a personality flaw. This is what's often called the silent phase or the silent period. And for learners who are around that B1 intermediate level, it's almost the standard part of the journey.
So if you're stuck in this phase, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're on track.
In a way, yes. It just means you've successfully built up your passive vocabulary, all the words you can understand, but you haven't yet built the bridge to your active vocabulary.
The words you can actually produce.
Right. And that gap between passive and active, that's where all the frustration is.
And it seems to show up in very specific situations.
The classic one, especially for professionals, is the Zoom meeting. It feels like it was designed to make you freeze.
Oh, absolutely. You have the safety of that mute button. You can sit there, you're following everything, you agree with the points, but physically clicking unmute, it feels like stepping onto a stage.
And there's that tiny delay, isn't there? You worry about interrupting someone or that your internet will lag, so you hesitate. And hesitation is the enemy.
Another huge one is job interviews. That's like the ultimate high pressure version of this.
It is. You understand the question perfectly. But the stakes are so high, your brain just gives you the simplest possible answer. Yes, I agree.
Meanwhile, inside your head, you're screaming, I know so many better words than this. But your mouth just says, yes.
So painful.
You know, it even happens in lower pressure places like online gaming. You've got the headset on, you understand team strategy perfectly, but you keep your mic off because you don't want to be the person with the accent.
That's a perfect example. It shows how psychological this all is. But here's the key idea I want you to hold on to. This silent phase isn't a failure. It's a data collection phase.
I like that, reframing it that way, but what's the science behind that? Why does the brain just decide to stop working when you try to speak?
Well, let's think about how we all learned our first language. Just, watching a baby learn to talk.
Sure, they spend a good year, maybe 2 years, just listening, staring. They make noises, but not real sentences.
Exactly. Researchers call this the silent period. That baby isn't doing nothing. Their brain is working incredibly hard. It's building a map.
A map of the language.
Yes, a map of the sounds, the rhythm, the grammar. They're downloading the whole operating system. They need thousands of hours of input before they risk any output.
So as adults, we're basically going through a second, much faster version of that.
We are, but we're more impatient. We think, I studied for a few months, I should be fluent. But your brain is still in that data collection mode. When you're sitting silently in that meeting, you are still doing important work.
So if I'm watching a movie and understanding the story or, nodding along to this deep dive right now, that counts.
That counts as heavy lifting. That's your brain filing away patterns. Oh, that's how they use that phrase. Listen to the intonation there.
That makes me feel a lot better about all the TV shows I watch. It's not lazy, it's research.
It is essential research. But there's always a but.
Of course there is.
A baby just starts babbling. They don't care about mistakes. They don't have that fear of sounding silly.
And we as adults care way too much. We're terrified of looking stupid.
And that terror, that fear, that's the real barrier. It's something called the affective filter.
The affective filter. Okay, what is that exactly?
Think of it like a wall in your brain. And your emotions control how high that wall is. When you feel anxiety or stress, the wall goes up. And it physically blocks the connection between the part of your brain that knows the words and your mouth.
Wait, so when I'm nervous in that meeting, I literally can't access the English that I know.
That's it. It's not that you forgot it. It's that stress hormones have flooded your system, and your brain is focused on survival, not on perfect grammar. It shuts down the creative language parts.
Which is why 5 minutes after the meeting ends, I can suddenly think of the perfect thing I should have said.
Right. Because the thread is gone, the wall comes down, and you get access back.
So the goal isn't just to learn more words. The goal is to lower the wall.
Bingo. To get out of the silent phase, we have to find ways to lower that affective filter. And we do that by understanding the difference between high stakes and low stakes speaking.
Okay, let's define those. High stakes seems pretty obvious. That's the job interview, right?
That's any situation where there is a judge. It could be a boss, a teacher, a stranger. It could even just be your own critical inner voice. If there's a risk of embarrassment, it's high stakes.
And high stakes situations make the wall go up.
Instantly. So if you only ever try to practice speaking in those situations, you're setting yourself up to fail. Your own biology is working against you. You have to practice in low stakes environments first.
Low stakes, meaning private, no judgment.
Exactly. Private, simple, zero judgment. You need to get your mouth and your brain used to the physical act of speaking English without that shot of adrenaline.
It sounds so simple, but what does that actually look like? We can't just talk to the wall. Or can we?
You absolutely can. In
No.
fact, that kind of self-talk is one of the most powerful tools there is.
Okay, so let's brainstorm some real practical examples. What is a good low stakes practice?
One of the easiest is narrating your daily chores.
Narrating chores. You mean like literally saying, I am washing the dish now.
Yep. I'm picking up this sponge. The water feels warm. Now I am scrubbing the plate. It sounds silly, I know, but you're connecting the thought to the action, to the words. You're greasing the gears.
And there's nobody there to correct your verb tense.
Precisely. The wall is down. Another great one is reading social media posts out loud.
Instead of just scrolling silently.
Right. Just stop and actually read a caption out loud. You're practicing rhythm, pronunciation. You're basically borrowing someone else's fluent sentences to train your mouth.
I like that. It turns a passive habit into something active. What about describing photos on your phone?
A classic. Open your camera roll, find a picture, and just describe what you see for 1 minute. This was in Italy. The sky was blue. I was eating pasta.
It's like a rehearsal for telling a real story later.
It is.
Mhm.
But I know what you're thinking. These all feel a little random.
They do. They feel like things I might try once and then forget. I need a more structured technique, something I can do every day.
Okay. Well, there is a specific technique that's perfect for this. It sounds a little strange at first, but just hear me out. It's called the plant method.
The plant method. Okay. Are we talking about gardening?
We're talking about having an audience. You need an audience that feels real but can't possibly judge you.
A houseplant.
A house plant. or a coffee cup or a pet, something to direct your words at.
Okay, I have to ask, how is talking to my fern really going to help me speak up in a business meeting?
Because of the psychology. If you
Oh.
talk to a mirror, you start judging your appearance. I look tired. My mouth looks weird when I say that. A plant is alive, so it feels like a listener, but it is completely neutral.
The plant doesn't care about my accent.
The plant is just happy you're there. It removes the judge. It brings that effective filter, that wall, all the way down to zero.
Okay, I see the logic. It removes the anxiety block, but what do I actually say to the plant? I feel like I'd run out of things pretty quickly.
You need a simple script. Start with what's happening right now. I am standing in the kitchen. I am holding my coffee.
Simple enough?
Then move to the future. Soon I will go to work. I have a meeting at 10. And then, and this is the powerful part, talk about feelings. I feel a bit tired today. I'm excited about the weekend.
So you're not just practicing grammar, you're practicing expressing your actual thoughts.
And think about how that connects to the real world. If you practice saying, I think that's a good point, to your plant 10 times.
Then when I need to say it in the meeting, the words are already there. It's muscle memory.
Exactly. You've already run the simulation in a safe zone. You can rehearse specific events. If you have doctor's appointment, tell the plant your symptoms first.
Mr. Cactus, my throat hurts and I have a small fever.
By the time you get to the doctor, you aren't searching for the words for the first time. You've already said them. You've built that bridge.
I actually love that. It takes a high stakes event and gives it a low stakes rehearsal. It sounds silly, but I can totally see how that builds confidence.
It's free. It's actionable. You could do it today. But I want to give everyone one more step, a way to graduate from the plant.
Okay, what's the challenge?
The no-stop voice memo.
I think I can guess what this is.
You take out your phone, open the voice recorder, hit record, and you talk for 30 seconds.
About anything.
Your day, the weather, your breakfast. But here's the rule. You cannot stop recording. And you absolutely cannot delete it and start over.
Even if you make a mistake, a really bad grammar mistake.
Especially then. If you stumble, you have to say, I mean, and fix it and just keep going. This trains your brain to be resilient. It teaches you that a mistake isn't the end of the world.
That's really hard. The impulse to stop and get it perfect is so strong.
That impulse is the perfectionism that's keeping you silent. You have to break that habit. Do it while you're walking the dog, waiting for the bus. Just whisper into your phone.
Okay, I am on the bus. It is late. It is raining.
Exactly. Just keeping the words flowing.
This has been incredibly useful. We've gone from brain science to talking to cacti. I think we should slow down and recap the main points to make sure it all sticks.
Good idea. Let's take a breath and lock in the key takeaways from today's deep dive.
Okay, so takeaway number 1. The silent period is normal. It's not a failure.
Right. It's just your brain collecting data and mapping the language. If you understand but can't speak, you're not broken, you're just buffering.
Point 2. The real enemy is the affective filter.
Anxiety creates that biological wall that blocks your access to words. To speak, you have to lower the wall by lowering the stakes.
Which leads to number 3. Start with low stakes speaking, not high stakes.
Avoid situations with a judge at first. Practice where there is no risk of failure.
And finally, under 4, use the tools. The plant method for safe rehearsal and the voice memo challenge to build resilience against mistakes.
Perfect summary. Now, before we let you go, we want to do a quick vocabulary word tour to make sure you really own the key words we use today.
Let's do it. 10 words to take with you.
Word number 1 is passive listening. This is when you're absorbing the language without speaking or reacting.
For example, he sat in the meeting doing passive listening, understanding the points, but never speaking.
Number 2 is silent period. That's the phase where a learner understands a lot but doesn't speak much yet.
Babies go through a long silent period before they say their first words.
Number 3, anxiety. That feeling of worry or nervousness.
Speaking to my boss causes me great anxiety.
Number 4 is fluency. This is the ability to speak easily and smoothly.
Practicing every day is the key to English fluency.
Number 5, high stakes. This describes a situation with a high risk of failure or judgment.
A job interview is the ultimate high-stakes speaking situation.
And number 6, the opposite, low stakes. A situation with little risk and no pressure.
Talking to your dog is a low-stakes way to practice English.
Number 7, self-talk. This is simply speaking to yourself to practice.
I use self-talk while I'm cooking dinner to practice new vocabulary.
Number 8 is data collection. This is your brain gathering information and patterns when you listen.
When you listen to podcasts, your brain is doing data collection on how sentences sound.
Number 9, voice memo. A short audio recording on your phone.
I recorded a voice memo to practice describing my day without stopping.
And finally, number 10, native speaker. This is someone who has spoken a language from birth.
Remember, you do not need to sound exactly like a native speaker to be a great communicator.
That's it for today. Remember, every minute you spend listening is a step closer to fluency. If you enjoyed this lesson, please subscribe and join our learning community. Before you go, I have a challenge for you. Write one new word you learned today in the comment field below. I will see you at our next episode at Steady Step English.